All right, guys, Mount Gooley, episode 2, Powder Book Bayley part 2. Now the finale. Now we get to the next night on Raw, and Stephanie McMahon is in the ring. She says that talks about SummerSlam, and then she also talks about the match that happened between Bayley and Sasha. She wants Bayley to come out to the ring. Stephanie is not really in a good mood. She's really upset. Before Bayley comes out, she tells the fans that Sasha will be out of action, and they don't know how long. Vicky Guerrero will be okay. Her daughter will be okay. Izzy's mother will be okay. They will all make speedy recoveries, but they don't know what to do about Sasha yet. So Bayley comes out. Stephanie McMahon just literally gives Bayley saying, "How dare you? Why would you do that? You attacked our guest and you literally traumatized a little girl by beating her mother's senseless with a kendo stick. Have you no shame? Have you no soul? Like this, what is wrong with you? Like this, what type of human being are you?" Bayley just snatched the mic from Stephanie and say, "What type of human being am I? What type of human being am I? What type of person are you, Stephanie? You're telling me about what I did was wrong? What about all the things in your past and your closet that you did wrong? Like the biggest one here. So did you tell that to your kids when, hey, guess how mommy met daddy? Mommy met daddy because daddy was in a relationship with another female wrestler, and daddy came to me because for the publicity to make his career jump up." So basically, Bayley brings up China. So I'm thinking what we're going to do with this angle is have China become not only like in the Hall of Fame for next year to set that up. So with that being said, Stephanie gets angry. She slaps the hell out of Bayley, and here comes Absolution. They corner the ring. Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, and Bayley. Bayley gets back up after getting slapped and tells Stephanie, "You made the biggest mistake of your whole entire life." Sonya Deville and Bayley beat the hell out of Stephanie, but Mandy Rose doesn't move. She gets in the ring, but she doesn't move. Bayley is telling Mandy Rose, "What's wrong with you? Why are you not attacking? Attack her." Mandy Rose doesn't move, doesn't bunch. She shakes her head. No, she won't do it. Bayley gets frustrated, pushes Mandy Rose, and then Mandy Rose hits Bayley with a forearm. Sonya Deville knows what's going on after hitting Stephanie McMahon, breaks the two apart. Medical staff comes to check to see if Stephanie's okay, carry her to the back. Now you can do this, which is also good. You can have Mandy Rose become a babyface now, actually descending her from Absolution. So with that being said, Bayley, next week on Raw, Mandy Rose comes out and saying, "Look, I got to say this off my chest. I'm not going to be intimidated by anybody, especially not Bayley. What Bayley did to the following is unforgivable. What she did to Paige, I accepted it, but I thought everything would get better, but it hasn't. But what she did to Sasha, what she did to Izzy and her mother, what she did to Vicky and her daughter is unforgivable. And what she did to Stephanie was the final straw in the coffin for me. I could not do it. I refuse to be with someone who is that hateful. That's why I refuse. I will never join Absolution again. And right now, Bayley and I have something. I want nothing to do with Bayley." And so Bayley and Sonya Deville come out. Bayley basically belittles Mandy Rose, calling her weak, calling her spineless, and basically another fight between Mandy Rose and Bayley breaks out. Sonya Deville is now caught in the middle. And backstage, Mandy Rose tells Sonya, "Listen, you have a choice. Either you can go to Bayley but you know deep down in your heart that this is wrong, and you know it's wrong. Then they end off with Raw with this. Kurt Angle makes an announcement saying at the next pay-per-view, since we're in September, it will probably be maybe like a September pay-per-view. I'm trying to think of one, like maybe like No Mercy. It will be Bayley defending the Raw Women's title against none other than Mandy Rose. It becomes maybe like a good match. You can probably build off of Mandy Rose and her being a legit babyface and her to actually grow her career. There is a part where Sonya Deville is just not playing sides, but just doesn't know what to do until Bayley hits her Fisherman's Buster on Mandy Rose, and 1, 2, 3, Bayley retains the Raw Women's title. Next night on Raw, Mandy Rose says she wants a rematch against Bayley. So this time Bayley talks to backstage. The match happens, but Bayley talks to Sonya Deville backstage and saying, "Look, I'm sorry that you had to witness, but Mandy Rose is weak, and you know she is weak. She probably would do the same thing, basically trying to get Sonya Deville to be on Bayley's side." So later on in the night, we have the match, Mandy Rose versus Bayley, and out of the blue, it looks like Sonya Deville is on the side of Mandy Rose. Rose and Sonya Deville, it looks like they're about to double team Bayley because Bayley accidentally knocked the referee out by accident. Well, Mandy Rose actually accidentally hit the referee by accident. So when you have Sonya Deville and Bayley Mandy Rose, and they look like they're about to attack Bayley, Sonya Deville roundhouse kicks Mandy Rose. Bayley hits her finisher. Sonya leaves the ring. Bayley gets the cover. 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains the Raw Women's title. And with Sonya Deville laughing, Sonya Deville still joins with Bayley. I think you can have Sonya Deville still be a heel in this and still join Bayley after all that has been done. I think it's granted how much of a twisted heel she could be. So with that being said, Mandy Rose gets up from consciousness and just shakes her head with disgust on both Bayley and Sonya Deville. So Mandy Rose is now her own star now. You can make her as her own star. And now, the next week on Raw, to the events leading up to Hell in a Cell, Stephanie McMahon comes back and says, "I haven't forgot what Bayley has done to me. Bayley wants to be, I don't understand why, but Bayley, I do kind of understand. But you know what? Bayley brought in some business that I'm not too proud of with the whole China situation." She basically explains it. Bayley comes out and say, "You see, look at Stephanie now. Now we're getting to the point where Stephanie McMahon can be turning babyface here in this situation." And then Bayley said, "There's no other competition like this. Shoot, this Raw Women's title means more to me than anybody. So when Bayley says that, Stephanie McMahon say, "Oh, so it's that important to you? Well, let's see. What can I do for you, Bayley? Oh, I know what to do. For the first time ever since 2000, because I think it will be almost damn near 18 years since they've done this, at Hell in a Cell, Bayley will defend her Raw Women's title in a 6-woman Hell in a Cell match. And Hell in a Cell, they will probably rewrite Hell in a Cell and call it Armageddon. So it will be for the first time a 6-woman's Armageddon Hell in the Cell match. Bayley defending the Raw Women's title. You have Bayley, Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, Mandy Rose, Nia Jax, and maybe let's say Dana Brooke, because why the hell not? So basically Bayley is nervous, is petrified. Nervous, saying that I'm going to lose my title. This is not fair. Stephanie's only doing this because she's a McMahon. She has all this power. She would do anything just to see people to get miserable. So basically, when it comes to Hell in a Cell, when the match begins, they all attack Bayley. We're talking Nia, Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Dana Brooke, and Mandy Rose, they all attack Bayley. And then it becomes a woman free for all, the way it should be. At the point Sonya Deville is outside of the cell, has had enough. She tries to unhook the chains off the Hell in a Cell. She does successfully. As soon as she's about to walk in the door, right behind her is Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie pushes Sonya Deville right on the cell door, making the door open. Everybody is out, so we get to the point where it's Mandy Rose, Bayley, and Nia Jax. To the point everybody else is outside, and then there's the only 3 left in the ring. Stephanie McMahon sees what's going on. A referee is knocked out, by the way. And also, it looks like Stephanie was going to hit Bayley with the championship belt, but otherwise she hits nobody other than Mandy Rose. She hits Mandy Rose. Bayley hits her finisher, pushes Stephanie down. The referee comes to his senses. Bayley gets the pin. 1, 2, 3, and somehow, some way, Bayley survives the Armageddon Hell in a Cell and walks out of Armageddon still the Raw Women's Champion. Stephanie McMahon with an anger look on her face. Mandy, every other woman is just pissed off that Bayley is still the Raw Women's Champion. So, with that being said, we get to November. Survivor Series. Stephanie McMahon gets on the phone with her brother Shane McMahon and saying, Shane McMahon, of their champion, who should be at this point Charlotte. I know it could have been Asuka, but it would be nice to have Charlotte win the belt. Asuka probably won it and probably lost it to Charlotte. So at Survivor Series, it's set Raw versus SmackDown, Bayley versus Charlotte, and this one would be really with a story going on. Bayley invades SmackDown to teach Charlotte, telling Charlotte that she's a hypocrite for all that she's done, to the point that she brings up what she said about her father a couple of years ago. Also, Bayley tries to get in the head of Becky Lynch, so you can make a feud between Charlotte and Becky Lynch that can lead down to the Royal Rumble. And also, Bayley's not out of the woods yet with Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon basically said, you know what, I want Raw to be the #1 brand. And I am disappointed, Bayley, that you are representing Raw as its champion. But you know what? I'm going to do something with it to help you motivate. If you lose to Charlotte at Survivor Series, you will not only lose the match, you will also forfeit the Raw Women's Championship. Bayley is starting to get angry with Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon is trying her best to make Bayley's life miserable. Now, I know what people are going to say, but Stephanie McMahon should be a babyface. Why is she? Well, she is a babyface. She's just, because Bayley's the heel. She's trying to make Bayley's life, trying to make sure that Bayley does not win. So when Survivor Series happens, Bayley, with the help of, once again, Sonya Deville, Bayley wins. She beats Charlotte. But at the end of the match, Bayley looks around for something and actually starts attacking Charlotte after the match, basically crippling Charlotte to the point Becky Lynch comes out to scare Bayley away. But the damage is done. Charlotte's leg is in horrible condition. She has to be carried out of the ring. So the next night on Raw after Survivor Series, Stephanie McMahon is pissed. She is furious that what Bayley did to Charlotte. So now, making Bayley pay, she makes Bayley suspended for indefinitely. Bayley comes out saying, Stephanie McMahon, you're going to suspend me like this. What? I got what you wanted. You wanted Raw to be the #1 brand. I am now the #1 brand. I'm the #1 woman in the Raw women's locker room. And you're trying to suspend me. Stephanie McMahon gets more angrier and angrier, and Bayley is suspended. So in 2 weeks from the next pay-per-view, we're in December, which is TLC. Bayley comes back. Stephanie tells Bayley that you're going to defend your title for the first time ever in a Raw ever TLC pay-per-view. It's going to be Bayley versus Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose. This time you can do so much with this match. And also Sonya Deville has been banned from ringside. So basically Bayley has to go it alone, basically. So the match is starting. Bayley is trying her best to keep that belt. But of course, you know, the faces try to stop Bayley. You can still have Alexa Bliss become a heel in this. But when it comes down to it, it's up to Mandy Rose, and Nia Jax. They're the ones that are about to climb the ladder. And as soon as the ladder's in place, and as soon as one of them is supposed to touch that ladder, close to even touching the championship, out of nowhere, some assailant in a mask just pushes the ladder. Nia Jax lands on 2 tables, and Mandy Rose land shoulder first on the ring ropes. So all there's left is Bayley. The masked assailant gets up, tries to get Bayley up. Bayley gets up, climbs the ladder, and once again, by another outside interference, I know, outside interference, Bayley still is the Raw Women's Champion. And guess who Bayley unmasked? And the masked woman is none other than Nikki Cross. Yes, Nikki Cross jumps from NXT to Monday Night Raw. Matter of fact, yes. Now I understand Nikki Cross is a part of Sanity, but if you actually take it from me, I think Sanity, the Superstar Shakeup, they will go to SmackDown. Don't worry, I will have Nikki Cross rejoin with Sanity soon. Trust me on this. So, the next night on Raw, we are now to the lips of the Royal Rumble. Stephanie McMahon is so desperate at this point. She's desperate at this point to the point that she is done. She has had it up to here with Bayley trying to escape every time with the Raw Women's title. So this time there will be no escaping. Bayley's next opponent for the Royal Rumble is none other than Ronda freaking Rousey. Yes, Ronda Rousey versus Bayley. This point, but there's a catch. The special guest referee. There's a special guest referee in the match, and the special guest referee is none other than Stephanie McMahon herself. Bayley says she is getting screwed. She brings up the point with Bret. She says she feels like she's Bret Hart in this situation. I'm going to get screwed out of my Raw Women's title. When it comes to the Royal Rumble, the match starts. Actually, Bayley and Ronda actually do have a great match, but as soon as Bayley's in trouble, here come. But okay, wait. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm just so all over it. But here's the thing: before the match starts, there is a backstage moment. Nikki Cross, Bayley, and Sonya Deville attack Stephanie McMahon before the match even starts. Backstage. So Stephanie can't go. She's not the special guest referee. Here comes another referee. So now we get to the match with Ronda Rousey versus Bayley. Sorry about that. It starts being good, like I said, until Bayley's in trouble. Here comes Sonya Deville. Ronda Rousey makes short work of Sonya Deville. Here comes Nikki Cross. And I actually think Nikki Cross and Ronda will actually be really, really good setup at least. But Ronda makes good work of Nikki Cross. But Bayley once again gets the upper hand as soon as but she also pushes down the referee. So there's no referee. Bayley is starting to have more senses, more control, beating down on Ronda until Stephanie McMahon hobbles her way into the ring. Still referee gear on, still hobbling to the ring. Bayley can't believe what she's seen. And then when Stephanie is close to the ring, Bayley gets a kendo stick and tries to wail Stephanie to keep her at bay. But Ronda Rousey uses a schoolboy. And then Stephanie comes to the ring. 1, 2, two fast counts. 1, 2, no. Bayley kicks out. Bayley kick it out. She goes to Stephanie saying, "You are fast counting me. You are screwing me." Then Stephanie McMahon saying this, "I'm not screwing you." Saying, "Just fight the match your way." Like, is that what you thought when you and your gang members tried to attack me backstage? Shoot. Then to the point where Stephanie shoves down, when Bayley shoves Stephanie to the ground. She grabs her Bayley grabs her kendo stick and about to hit Ronda Rousey until we hear Sasha Banks' music. Yes, Sasha Banks comes back. She's on the rampway. Bayley is drops the kendo stick and shocked that she sees Sasha Banks. Out of nowhere, Stephanie grabs the cane, hobbling, hits Bayley in the back with the kendo stick. Then you have Ronda Rousey hitting her finisher. We don't know where her finisher is. Hits it on Bayley, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Bayley loses the Raw Women's title at the Royal Rumble. Now, what we do from here on with this, now we get to the point where Bayley is out cold. Sasha is back. So now the next night on Raw, Stephanie McMahon is out saying we have a new Raw Women's Champion and Ronda Rousey. And now we get to February, which will be Elimination Chamber. I'm not going to put Fastlane in this. We'll just do Elimination Chamber. But before we get to that, Stephanie McMahon talks about Bayley, saying that Bayley will not participate in the Elimination Chamber. She will face off against Sasha Banks one more time in a 2 out of 3 falls match. But this time it has with a kicker if Bayley for Bayley. So basically Sasha Banks is in backstage looking for Bayley because she wants to beat the hell out of Bayley, because it was Bayley that took about we're in August for SummerSlam. Now we're in January for about we got August, September, October, November, December, January. For 6 months, Sasha Banks is just completely irritated. She wants to find Bayley. Bayley's in the back. And at the end of the night, Stephanie McMahon makes an announcement saying that she felt bad. She had to get this off her chest. Chyna is now in the WWE Hall of Fame. So with that being said, we get to the Titantron and we see Bayley. Bayley saying, "Hey, Stephanie," like this, "it's a great thing. You put Chyna in the Hall of Fame. Well deserved. Well deserved." And then she said this, "You know what? You made it very personal with me. Very, very personal with me. You screwed me out of the Raw Women's title. You screwed me out of the Raw Women's title last night at the Royal Rumble. And you made it very personal. Stephanie, I tried to warn you, don't get into my business, but you keep on. You're like a virus that won't go away. But I have a cure for that virus." Right there, there's 2 chamber pods. 2 little chamber pods. Well, a cage and one in black, like a little curtain. The first curtain, Bayley unravels it. It's none other than Vince McMahon. The other cover is none other than Stephanie McMahon's kids. Stephanie is in shock. She is literally quivering in the ring, and Bayley says this. You put me in a match with Sasha Banks. Okay, I'm down. I'm cool with that. But you know what? I told you, Stephanie, not to do it. We will get personal." So basically, Bayley just tortures the kids, basically by hitting like a metal pipe to the bars. Just not hitting the kids necessarily, but just like hitting the bars for like sonic waves for torture. But as for Vince, she completely beats the hell out of Vince McMahon. Stephanie McMahon can't watch no more. They're in the parking lot. Stephanie is running to the parking lot. Sasha Banks is running to the parking lot because she can see it on the backstage area. They're both just running towards the parking lot to save Vince McMahon and Stephanie's kids. At to the point Sasha and Stephanie look. Bayley's still right there, torturing the kids and torturing Vince. Bayley say, "Don't you move a muscle. If you do, I will hurt your father right in front of you." So basically, Bayley just wanted wanted Stephanie to beg, saying she's sorry for what she's done in her past life. Of course, Stephanie does it because she doesn't want her kids or her father getting hurt. Stephanie McMahon just said, "Please put the pipe down. Don't hurt my family." Crying, saying, "Don't hurt my family." Out of nowhere, Bayley grabs the metal pipe and hits Vince McMahon on the back of his head. Bayley starts running. Sasha goes after her. Bayley gets into a getaway car ran by Sonya Deville and Nikki Cross, and Raw ends with Stephanie McMahon leaning over her father, who is bleeding from the back of his head. So, Elimination Chamber starts. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Bayley gets a clean victory for once because Kurt Angle suspends Sonya Deville for 60 days, and also she trades Nikki Cross to SmackDown. So, after when Bayley beats Sasha Banks at Elimination Chamber, we hear Stephanie McMahon's music. Stephanie McMahon comes out with sneakers, blue jeans, a white t-shirt, and a metal pipe. The same metal pipe that Bayley hit Vince with. So at the end, Bayley is backing up. Stephanie is running towards Bayley. Bayley is running for the hills. She has no backup. No backup at all. Bayley is running from place to place all over the arena while Stephanie McMahon is on a rampage. Stephanie McMahon hits the announcer's table. She hits glass, the backstage area, you name it, everything backstage just to get to Bayley. When it's all said and done, Stephanie is this close to hitting Bayley with the lead pipe, but Bayley somehow pushes Stephanie away and goes into her car. Stephanie throws the lead pipe at Bayley's car, and Bayley hightails it the hell out of the Elimination Chamber arena unscathed. The next night on Raw, Stephanie McMahon says she wants to hurt Bayley. She wants to end this with Bayley once and for all, until Bayley comes out with security and actually with police officers saying to arrest Stephanie. But Stephanie says, "You know what? Why don't you, instead of putting all the attorneys, how about this? You and I," Bayley would say, "you and I at WrestleMania." Bayley challenges Stephanie McMahon challenges Bayley to a match at WrestleMania, but there's a few cards here in check. If Bayley loses, Bayley will be fired from WWE and will no longer work for the company ever. Then you have another one. If Stephanie McMahon loses, Bayley told Stephanie, if Stephanie loses at WrestleMania, Stephanie McMahon will no longer be in power. She will no longer be the commissioner. She won't have anything to do outside of WWE business. So basically, she can't even run WWE. She can't run Monday Night Raw anymore. She will no longer be the commissioner. They both signed the contract. We get the match, but the match is now an unsanctioned match. I think this match will go from at least 20 to 25 minutes. Both women are beating the hell out of each other till it comes to a point where Stephanie McMahon makes a huge error out of nowhere. Bayley hits her finisher on Stephanie McMahon not once, not twice, but 3 times. The first, and all 3 of them are on a chair. Bayley picks up the win, and Bayley beats Stephanie at WrestleMania. So, but also, there was also another thing added into the contract. If Bayley beats Stephanie, Bayley gets her entitled rematch that she never gotten the next night on Monday Night Raw. And who is facing who at WrestleMania? Sasha Banks somehow won a #1 contenders match and will take on Ronda Rousey. I have 2 different endings for this. Here's the first ending. If Ronda Rousey somehow wins, the next night Bayley faces Ronda. And it looks like Ronda's going to win, but Bayley's going to win, but here comes Sasha Banks. She's got a steel chair. She's about to hit Bayley right in right with the chair the way she did her, but instead hits Ronda Rousey. Bayley pins Ronda 1, 2, 3. Bayley and Sasha are now a heelish tag team. Sasha Banks goes heel, and Bayley and Sasha become a tag team. The new Raw GM, Kurt Angle comes out and saying that he signed a new talent to the Raw roster, and it's nobody than Iconic. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay make their debut on the Raw roster. But then there's ending part 2 to this. Sasha Banks somehow beats Ronda Rousey, and then the next night on Raw, it will be Sasha Banks versus Bayley on Raw. Somehow Bayley, some way, wins cleanly, beats Sasha Banks. And as soon as Bayley got the chance to celebrate, Kurt Angle comes out saying that Stephanie McMahon made Kurt Angle the new commissioner of Raw, and Kurt Angle can pick anybody that he wants to be the GM. Kurt Angle says the new GM can come on out. It's none other than Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair still in a leg brace and a leg cast. She is the new Raw GM. So, with that being said, Charlotte says, Bayley, you and I are going to be the best of friends now. So, which ending did you like? Did you like the... And then, oh wait, before I get to that, Bayley looks at Charlotte, and Kurt Angle shakes her head and just looks at the Raw Women's title, saying, "You won't," and says in the mic, "You could do what Stephanie tried and fail. I'll make sure I run you out of the WWE." So, with that being said, we'll have Sasha Banks hit the bank statement on Bayley, and you can still have the feud between Bayley and Sasha there. So, that's how I would do. That's how Bayley would be booked as the number one heel in the company. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Did you like the first ending, having Ronda Rousey take on Bayley, or did you like the second ending of Sasha versus Bayley the next night on Raw, and Charlotte becoming the new GM, or do you like the other ending with Ronda Rousey versus Bayley, Sasha Banks turning heel, and Iconic finally making their Raw debut, their Raw debut, which you can have a tag team between the two best friends of Bayley and Sasha versus the Iconic duo of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. You guys let me know in the comment section below. I think next will be very interesting for episode 3 of How to Book. Nobody other than Finn Balor. You guys have a wonderful day. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought. Peace out, and I will see you guys next time.